Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. May I have your attention, please? We are going to start now. Hello, everyone, and good afternoon once again. I hope everyone had a very nice lunch and you are all full stomach, hopefully not sleepy, because don't sleep. We are going to have a wonderful session right now. Let me begin, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Harun Rashid. I'm the chair of IEEE Young Professionals Malaysia, and also I'm the regional representative of IEEE Power Energy Society Young Professionals. So I'll be the MC for this session, and I welcome you all to WIP, the full form, Women in Power, and YP, Young Professionals Forum, where we are going to talk about future talent of engineers. Okay, so let me begin by just giving you a little bit introduction. What is basically YP? I believe all of you are IEEE member. Anyone here who is not IEEE member? Anyone? Perfect. Perfect. All are IEEE member. Anyone who don't know what is YP? This will make my job easy. So I don't have to give you introduction about that. Okay, let me just give you a little bit quick idea what is basically YP. You know, IEEE is a well-known professional organization in the world which has over 400,000 members based in 160 countries. So that's a privilege that you are joining one of the conferences organized by IEEE. Okay, who are YPs? When we talk about in IEEE young professional YP, so from the moment that you are graduated, your first degree, the duration of 15 years, you are considered as the young professional. So don't feel that you look too old. You are still young, 15 years of duration. So if you are one among them, then you are YP in the same group with me. Second group that we are going to talk about today is WIP, Women in Power. Since this conference is organized by Power Energy Society, I believe all of you are researcher or academician, or you are working in the field of power and energy. So IEEE has this affinity group called WIP, Women in Power. Now, what is Women in Power? All the women who are working in the field of women, they are coming under this group, Women in Power. But it's not only that. Mind that there are many gentlemen sitting here. They might be thinking we are in a wrong session maybe. So here is a good news for you. WIP does not limit you to be a woman to be part of it. Okay, WIP encourages, maybe we have one speaker here sitting and thinking that what am I doing here in WIP session? So don't feel, you can consider yourself as YP. You are still a young professional. Okay. So Women in Power Group basically was formed to promote more diverse leadership into the power and energy sector, and also to promote community education leadership. So you will be hearing later on with our panel of speakers. And to talk more about that, I will limit my words and I will give the opportunity later for you to hear from the panel, where we will have very interesting and special panelists. Later you will meet them. So before I invite the panelists, I will be proceeding to invite the moderator for this forum. So the moderator is not less than uh, Professor Engineer Dr. Zuhaina Zakaria. You have seen her yesterday, some of you know, but let me give give a brief bio about her. So Professor Zuhaina Zakaria received her bachelor's degree in electrical engineering in 1989 from University Technology, Malaysia. She continues her studies and received master's degree from Napier University, Edinburgh, UK in 1997, and her PhD in electrical engineering from University of, okay, this is very hard word for me to pronounce, Strathclyde, Glasgow. Okay, so that's in UK in 2005. So assuming that Prof is almost young professional, just 2 years older, just 2 years, yeah, borderline. She has been working in University Technology Mara for about 30 years. She's a professor in College of Engineering. Her research interests are in the areas of energy efficiency, power quality, load profiling, and power system analysis. And based on her leadership and management skills, she was given opportunity to hold several administrative posts in the faculty and in the university. Currently, Professor Dr. Zuhaina Zakaria is the Dean of Institute of Graduate Studies in UITM, University Technology Malaysia, University Technology Mara. She's also very active in engineering professional societies. She's a senior member of IEEE, member of IET, and the honorary secretary of Institution of Engineers Malaysia. And she is the former or past chairwoman or chairperson of IEEE Malaysia section, as well as IEEE Power Energy Society Malaysia chapter. And another one, she's the current chair of IEEE Admission and Advancement Committee. So she's going to be the moderator for this session. Now you can expect about the speakers. If the moderator is coming with this profile, then hold on, the speakers are going to come. So with that, I would like to welcome Professor Dr. Zuhaina Zakaria to the stage to carry on the session from now on.
Thank you, Dr. Harun, for the kind introduction. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon. So Harun has made my job more easier because he has explained about what's the objective of this forum and also the definition of WIP and also YP. So my job now is to introduce the panelists and also to make sure that nobody doze off after a very good lunch before this. So I would like to invite all the panelists to come on stage, to join me on stage. We have the first panelist, Dr. Jessica Bien, President of IEEE PS. Can you please join me on stage? And then we have Encik Sharoniza Muhammad Noor, Head of Talent Management from Tenaga Nasional Berhad. And the third panelist is Engineer Technologist Nurziha Zainul Abidin, Head of Sales, Technical Sales and Marketing from GSPARK Tenaga Nasional Berhad. And last but not least, Associate Professor Engineer Dr. Nofri Yanita Dahlan, Director Solar Research Institute from UITM, University Technology Mara. Okay, let me also sit with you. All right. Okay, what we're going to do, we maybe have 3 rounds of sessions, question sessions. Very easy question, don't worry. Okay. And then we will also open to the audience to ask some questions. So actually, I have their CVs, but I think to make their warm up to the session, I'll pass the microphone and give them opportunity to introduce themselves. Maybe 1 or 2 minutes. You can highlight your strength or your experience, and then we begin with the round of questions. So I'll start with Jessica.
Thank you, Zuhaina. Like I said, told everyone yesterday, Zuhaina is my boss. Yeah, she's up high at the IEEE level, so we are only one of the societies. Jessica Bien, I'm my current president for IEEE Power and Energy Society. Um, I have been working in the industry for 30 some years. I joined IEEE since I was a student. Dr. Maroon said, I was a YP before, student member, YP, and senior member now. I had a great ride with the industry through the deregulation. I told a lot of myself yesterday, and I want to share more experience today with everyone. And particularly, Zuhaina had lots of good questions, so I'm going to let everybody know my perspective, and we could have, I'm looking forward to a very interactive discussion here today. Thank you for having me.
Assalamualaikum, a very good afternoon. My name is Sharul Nizam Muhammad Noor. You can call me Sharul. Oh no, it's not appeared here. I'm currently attached to talent management unit of Group HR division in Tenaga Nasional Berhad. Lucky that I am also a graduate. I graduate in engineering field. I have my classmate here. Thank you for being here and inviting me. I've worked as an engineer in transmission division in Tenaga Nasional Berhad for many years, and I don't know whether it's a fortunate or unfortunate incident that I get to jump to join Group HR, doing strategy after many years of doing maintenance, operations, design of a transmission system. And in HR, I involved actively in the area of strategy, transformation, culture transformation, and the current post in talent management. So I've been in the field maintaining the system. Now I'm taking care of the system. Now I'm taking care of the people who are now taking care of the system. So I'm very excited. I joke around just now with some of our friends here. When I was an engineer, I was never invited to any IEEE program. But now, as a HR practitioner, I got the honor to be in front of everyone today. Thank you very much.
Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon. So thank you for having me in this POWERCON 2022 IEEE. Okay, my name is Norziha binti Zainal Abidin. You can call me Ziha. I'm with TNB for I think close to 20 years, maybe 20 years. I don't remember. Since my first day working. So I'm a TNB scholar, and they sponsored me to study, and I'm still loyal with TNB. Hopefully until I retire. Okay, what I do is I graduated as an engineer in electric power, and I've been working as engineer. It's just that I don't go to do the field work intentionally because I don't want to get sweaty or not. But I work as a planning engineer, so I was involved in the operation planning for electricity supply, and then I moved to the long-term planning. I did the substation design, and also I worked on the electricity supply industry. So actually, I had a chance to work with Dr. Nofri as well when we were working with the Suruhanjaya Tenaga and the Ministry on the electricity supply industry for Malaysia. And for the past 4 years, I joined a subsidiary of TNB called G-Spark. So if you've heard, G-Spark is actually, we are doing rooftop solar, and we are 100% owned by TNB. So what I do now is I'm heading the technical sales and marketing for G-Spark. So it's actually quite a change in the career, just like what Cik Shahrul is. So from engineering, I jumped to sales and marketing, but pretty much I'm still in touch with the engineering part, because to explain to people, to be able to pitch well, you need to have a strong and sound foundation in engineering. So I'm happy to share this stage with all these esteemed guests today. So, and thank you again for having me.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and good afternoon. Again, thank you very much for inviting me for this POWERCON 2022. My name is Novri Anita Dahlan. So I'm from University Technology Mara. Currently, I serve as a director in Solar Research Institute. So Solar Research Institute is one of the center of excellence in UiTM, where we basically established to assist our solar project in UiTM. UiTM is well known as one of the big player in solar photovoltaic, where we have two large-scale solar farm in Gambang and Pasir Gudang, and also solar rooftop in the 7 campuses across Malaysia. And my background is in electrical power engineering. So I'm from Faculty of Electrical Engineering in UiTM. So started my career in UiTM back in 2005. And before that, I also freshly after graduated from Uni10, University International, then I work as an engineer contract SKPS in TMB distribution department. And then after that, with Motorola Technology Penang as an electronic engineer before I pursued my PhD. Then before I work with UiTM. And I think it's not different from the other speakers. My PhD is in energy economics, so I also has not doing so much on electrical technical, but now looking for more on the study on investment in energy and also the market Malaysia, the market for electricity industry. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So we can hear that I think among the panelists, we have like more than 50 years of experiences on the stage. All right, now the topic of our forum is future talent of engineers. So what we're going to do is we will discuss some of the experiences that the panelists have had and what are the skills maybe it is essential for engineers, and how do we see what kind of future talent that we need for engineers maybe in 10 to 20 years in the future. So perhaps I begin with Jessica. You have been with, power industries maybe like 30 odd years. So what do you think your biggest success and also your biggest learning opportunity during your experience?
Thank you for the question. Yeah, I would say that I heard all the introductions here. We are very successful from the career-wise and is ready to pivot. Because the world has all kinds of challenges and opportunities. They're not like single laser into, let's say, particular power system. When you walk into the campus or any workplace, you deal with the people. And of course, there's some technical issues as well. But to me, the success is I was able to always build a team. To me, that's the key. That would be my strength. I didn't realize that when the very beginning, I was always willing to listen and try to understand the other's perspective. I think that would be the key, particularly right now, because we have lots of challenges like social challenges, climate change, right? Not only on the technical issues, how do we build a team and look at all the issues, and not just from the technical side, but from the social side, and how do we build a team together and combat the climate change and work across the aisle with all the folks like the sales and marketing, right? Econ, work with the lawyers. We talked about this morning is how do we collaborate together. So to me, that would be the key. the way I did that, I didn't realize that before, is that we talk about a lot of how to communicate effectively. Of course, right? We all know, as a sales or as a professor or as a team lead, you want to build a team, you want to let people know your intent and listen. But to me, the way I understood, I listen or communicate is I would try to understand where my team members come from and their upbringing, their education, when they were young, what kind of environment they grew up. So when they talk about their ideas, their suggestions, I can understand where they came from. So everyone, my team, they're always my friend, because I know it's not that if they disagree with me, it's not that they wanted to say, okay, they are different from me. They came in with different ideas because their background, their upbringing, their education, their environment, it's different from what I have. So that's why they have a different perspective. Not only I welcome that, I will listen to it, try to understand, and bring their idea to what I've been doing. So always I try to make it not just diverse, but make it and welcome all the ideas. And I, like I said, I understood where they came from. That's the key. So I want to summarize: the success is respect and lead with love, with head and with heart.
That's interesting. Cik Sharul, we move on to you. I'm sorry if the question is not in the list that I've given to you, but I just I just think that I should ask this question, because you said that you previously, as an electrical engineer, you used to take care of machines, and now you take care of the people who take care of the machines. So how do you prepare yourself when you want to shift from electrical engineering to this head of talent management? Is it difficult for you? How is it?
Thank you, Prof, for the pleasant surprise. Yes, transitioning from an electrical engineer into a HR practitioner is not as easy as I thought. When I was a maintenance engineer at Lines, I was stationed in one state down south. I always complain to HR. I asked HR, what kind of person are you, what kind of new recruit are you sending to me? They are not competent. Why is it so difficult for you to get the right person? How are you doing how do you do the interview process and whatnot? And one day I said out loud, just send me to HR and I fix it. And God is great. He listened to what I said, and that I got the opportunity to join HR. And I have to say that I still can't resolve the problem that I complained earlier on, because when I was an engineer, I look at the machine and I look at the system as something very, what's the right word? Something that is routine. The solution is always in the manual. The solution is always there. But when I deal with people, it's not one size fits all solution. And worst come to worst, if I have problem with a machine, with circuit breaker or transformer, I can kick at it and it won't retaliate. But try that to a human being, and I get in a mess. So, but one thing that I appreciate being an engineer in the line of HR is the discipline that I've been taught, that I gained as an engineering graduate. I was taught about being critical. I had that critical thinking skills. I challenged the status quo. I wanted to solve problem and troubleshoot. And this helped when I transition myself in HR, knowing that not every problem, knowing that every single problem HR is unique. There are no two same problems that I have to solve on a daily basis.
One shoe doesn't fit.
Yes. But I believe along the way, wisdom and maturity does help.
All right, yes, thank you very much. Okay, Engineer Ziha, as a TNB scholar, is it engineering is always your dream from when during your school time?
To chuckle at it. No, actually, no. I really not from childhood, but I mean, as far as I can remember, I want to be a doctor. I think being a doctor is so cool. In fact, I got a scholarship, at that time, JPA, the government scholarship to pursue, but I've already started 2 weeks into TMB program. So, and actually 10 of us was in the same situation, but we said, it's okay, we continue with TMB because we're already on board. But I think that is your destiny. I pursued engineering, and I think there must be a reason to it. I'm happy with whatever I do. Okay. But yeah, I think being an engineer, that's why maybe I'm not really I would say a hardcore engineer. Maybe no, because if I am, I would still be doing engineering and detail engineering work. But with that engineering practice, that actually helps you in your career and also in your life. Example, it helps you to be more structured, understand, when you want to do things, you need to really dive into the details, get your facts right and everything. And that actually also helped in my career now, because I think I would like to also relate to Cik Shahrul. He said managing people is much more difficult. You can't kick them in the ass or anything, because because machine is just like their objective. They don't fire back at you. But managing people, managing human require a very subtle skill, in which now I actually can relate to that, because in sales and marketing, I deal with a lot of people, different set of customers, residential, commercial, VIP, VVIP, to the normal people. So, but with your training, with your knowledge, and it helps you, being an engineer, it helps you to think structuredly and, do things professionally. That helps in my career. So I think, yes, in whatever you do, even, from engineer to HR, from engineer to doing sales, or maybe you become a businesswoman or businessman, whatever your training in your past life, if you do it correctly, if you do it like, you do all out, that would really help you in your later future. So that's what I believed in.
Okay. All right. Dr. Nofri, my colleague from UiTM, the only professor in this on the stage. Perhaps you can comment on. We can see that once trained as an engineer, it really helps in your life, whatever track that we will pursue. So perhaps in the university, what do you think about the current curriculum or syllabus? Do we need any changes in order to prepare the young engineers for the electrical power industry in the future? Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Zul. Yeah, from my opinion is our syllabus should be always relevant to the industry. I think that's very important. Yeah, and what I see is in our curriculum, we still have lots of things that we teach students, the traditional, the conventional engineering system. But what we need now is we have to open the student view, mind, to look into a widened perspective of this electrical industry. Yeah, and our electricity industry now very exciting. Yeah, so we can see that so many players now involved in our electricity industry. I'm sorry, because we can see last time TMB used to be the single and a big player in our electricity industry, but no more now. We can see that lots of company, energy service company, in fact, prosumers, we as the user also can be, can sell our energy from home to the grid. So I think that's very exciting, and we need to, our students to understand. Because I still remember when I was doing my degree. Yeah, so when I graduated, so I only know that I must work with TMB, and I studied in University Tenaga Nasional, although I'm not the scholarship of TMB. I wrote to TMB, yeah, I want to work with them. Yeah, so I think we should tell our student that the scenario is not, it's different. Yeah, so to tell them that, this is a big market for electricity industry. To look at also not in Malaysia but global. Yeah, so again back to our curriculum. Yeah, so it needs to be relevant. Yeah, it needs to really to be relevant. Other than that, soft skills is very important to students. Yeah, so they must be trained, yeah, to be able to talk, to present, and yeah, I think that's it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. That's interesting. I think we've finished round one. Ding ding. Okay. So, okay. Yes, please.
I heard some common theme here, like
All right.
managing people.
Mhm.
So I want to go back to that. I said earlier is lead with love, and what I mean is, yeah, lead with head. That is our kind of engineering equation, like logic patterns, and with heart. The heart, I mean, is that we have kind of humans. We have our own patterns. They're not measured by equation, but there are different ways to. There's science behind that as well. I have studied recent years the like human behavior, why we say what we say, why we do what we do, especially the team environment, right? We couldn't finish the project on time, why we run over the cost, right? We couldn't deliver certain things, and there's a science behind that too. So the theory, I mean, it's like our kickoff law, right? We electrical engineer, we all know there's certain equations, laws that kind of, so when we design a thing like a table, there's a way, right? We look at the surface, we cut certain ways, and there's a pattern, a scientific equation behind it. For human behavior, there's a certain way as well. So I try to learn that because I know we have lots of HR issues and people different come in, bring their own things. So I studied the human behavior, and there's a theory to support all that. It's called attachment theory, and they divide people into three kind of types. One is called anxious, secure. Another one is called avoidance. So that helps me a lot. So I just wanted to let everybody know that there are tons of scientific research for how we understand every person. From that, I can, like I said, I can work with the diverse people worldwide, understand their culture. And Zuhaina took me and Wayne and thank Maroon as well yesterday to the museum, the National Museums here. This is how I understand the culture and people here. So when they bring the idea to the table, I can understand where they came from. And the reason is different because we are different, but I can understand why they bring that idea. So I can look at it, how I can incorporate the ideas and going forward. So I just want to say, yeah, there are other ways, like, I mean, just look at scientifically, there's a pattern for the human behaviors as well.
Okay, thank you, Jessica. Right, but I mean, working as an engineer in electric industry, okay, if you put aside the personal characteristic, I think I would like to Cik Sharul to answer this question. You've been with the, I mean, recruiting many talents for TNB. So, what do you think the technical competencies that should be, I mean, that the engineers, the young engineers, especially when they come in, what do you think technical competencies they must have, okay, in order to help the company to grow?
All right. I'm very much proud to say that our graduates have the content. They have the substance. Technically, they are very good. If I in during interview, for instance, if I ask them to elaborate on their final year project, you can see they are beaming, enthusiastic, and some of them can just take the marker pad and do sketches. But in the workplace, beyond technical knowledge, there are other things that are required from the fresh grads. Besides technical, I think the spirit or the characteristic, for example, always curious. You wanted to be the best. You wanted to come up with a solution. I think that was what underlying things being taught as a graduate engineers, because you are given an assignment, you are given a project to complete and whatnot, so you strive to complete it and to deliver the best results. And I think that kind of the technical, be it electrical, I can only speak about electrical engineering. In terms of theory, getting to know the application, yes, they are very much competent, I would say. But of course, as a young, the new kids on the block, they need to polish up or step up in terms of the social skills, the soft skills and whatnot. Sometimes it's quite intimidating going into a big company, for example. You are just a small fry, wanted to tell the world what's your idea is, you are eager. Sometimes that confidence is not there. So I applaud the universities, the learning institution for equipping our young people with all the technical knowledge, but I think we need to balance it up with all these other social skills, soft skills, so that they can come in the complete package.
All right, okay. So meaning that not only technical skills, but also must have beyond the technical competency, right? Okay. Engineer Ziha, if I may quote, you said you are not a hardcore engineer. So maybe you do come across some of your best engineered ideas which challenge your ability or your ways of thinking in your line of work.
Okay. I have to think hard about it. Okay. It's not that I don't have, but maybe because in my work, because maybe when I say I'm not a hardcore engineer, maybe in the sense, let's take TNB, let's say Chesharel, so he dealt with substation, right? Substation. So he actually went down to the field, get dirty with all the maybe oil and all those kind of things. But I didn't, because I was never exposed in that sense. My exposure is more on planning. I use software a lot, because I do operation planning. I plan for what will be the power plant that I will be running for the next day, what will be the line that will be taken out on outage so that you guys don't have any blackouts. Those are the kind of thing that I did previously. So I think, but the one that actually really tested my capability, maybe not entirely engineering, but because, okay, I wanted to add to maybe what Dr. Nofri said earlier, because I think versatility is actually key now. If you're an engineer, you can't just, be focusing on being an engineer, because that's not the case now. I take TNB, for example, okay, because we've been with TNB since we graduated. So yeah, we could speak a lot about TNB. TNB used to be the engineering company, the only monopoly that actually supplied electricity to Malaysia. But now that's not the case anymore. Yes, still you got supply from TNB, but the competitions in terms of, you got the supply from other power company, the generation companies, and there are competition in the retail. Example, there are many solar companies. Despite is just one of it. Okay, so in this sense, TNB itself, they can't just be focusing on being an engineering firm or engineering company. It's much more, now the focus is being a business entity. So even in TNB, they place a lot of importance in, dollar and cent, shareholder value. The engineering part is just the core thing that you need to keep and maintain it well, because you don't want any blackout, definitely, but you need to ensure that the business is sustainable. So when I say, so this relates to what I do. Even I think I would say that my best exposure is when I actually work in the design of electricity supply industry, when we were in a way migrating from being a monopoly to being into the liberated, liberalization. Because if you remember 5 years ago, there's a lot of heated discussion about liberalizing electricity industry in Malaysia. So they started to introduce electricity market like they call it NEDA here, where in overseas you could actually source out your electricity from many other companies. So these are the kind of thing that they started to look at, the industry started to look at like 5 years ago, and it still continue. So my challenge is actually there when I was tasked to actually head the task force to look into our process and our what do you call it, business. How do we align our normal planning for generation or transmission to align to the market environment? So the challenge is to actually work together with other team members with various backgrounds. I need to deal with legal because we need to look into the contract of the IPP contract, the 20-year contract. Then I need to look at how we plan for the generator. How do we dispatch the generator? Because the principle is called least cost dispatch. So I need to know about the heat rate, why is this machine being run, and then I need to know about the payment, settlement. So the challenge and the one that actually tested me the most was heading that task force and learning all these different disciplines at one go. So that really put me into in a challenging position. And at that time, I was I don't really get. My boss actually really put me in that position and said, yes, you settle this. So that 2 years time is really, I learned a lot. And this is, I would say, that the most trying time for me. But that is actually the one that brought up the best out of me, because I learned that I could actually really manage different a team with different discipline and not really direct reporting to me. And I learned a lot about the economics of electricity. So that is the challenge.
I think that will be beyond whatever you have learned in the university,
Exactly,
right?
because that is exactly what I always told the new graduate, the intern that actually came to us, said that you can't be like, I want to be engineer and engineering for the whole life. No, unless you are, because I don't see that kind of opportunity in Malaysia. Maybe no, maybe in overseas, in US, you could really do whatever you do, or there is opportunity. Example, in TNB, you may be stationed at power plant and you become expert of it, but you need to focus on that field, just that field alone. But if you want to be, especially if you want to move to the your career, you need to be diversified, and hence you need to learn about other things as well.
Yep. Okay. I think talking about energy economics, maybe I think Dr. Nofi is a suitable person. She's holding a PhD in energy economics. So maybe you can share when you come back, because the situation at the moment, I think maybe does not really suitable for that. So how can you see the changes in the energy industry now?
Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, I did my PhD in energy economics in University of Manchester, and my research area that time is basically on modeling the power generation investment in the liberalized electricity market. Okay, and so when I came back in 2011, it a bit frustrated. It was what 11 years back, because I couldn't, couldn't practice and move along with what I've learned during my PhD. And then I changed a bit of my research background after that, where I started to move into energy efficiency. Yeah, and I took my certificate, certified measurement and verification professional in Singapore, to allow me to become an independent verifier for energy saving project. Okay, and then from that I focus on this energy efficiency. But then Ziha mentioned that 5 years ago, this liberalization agenda started, going up again. And then I started being called by Energy Commission to look into the Malaysia electricity supply industry policy framework. And I'm very happy because I started to contribute, because it was my dream to work, not only to just do lecturing in university, but I really want to to contribute to what I learned, because energy economics is very new in Malaysia. And because of the industry is not yet ready to move, so it limits me to, to share. Then after that, yeah, I can see that there is a drastically change in the industry. Yeah, in fact, there are so many opportunities to people's, to participate in our electricity industry nowadays.
So maybe Jessica, if you notice that our electric power industry in Malaysia does not the same as in the US. Okay, we just started our initiative towards that, maybe like 5 years ago. So perhaps as a PS president, what do you think is the challenges to transform electrical power industry in the future?
Great question. That's $1 million question or $1 billion question, right? So I heard lots of good questions in the morning sessions as well. We talk about 2030, 2050. We have lots of goals, cleaner, carbon-free. Why we couldn't get there, right? Lots of papers and talks. It needs capital, needs money. The industry came along, like I said yesterday, 140 years ago. We were able to do reliably, safely, and with an affordable price so that everybody can enjoy. But there are lots of things that we have to do to make it carbon-free, net zero, all the things we talk about, cleaner, resilient, all that takes capital. Same thing. So if we want to talk about like the California last week, right? We had hot weather, and what they did is governor issued a flex alert through the cell phone, said, hey, we're in crisis, can you help us? And then we immediately got 2,000 megawatts relief from the system. That's how the California ISO survived without shedding any loads. So to me, that's a technology that we could move and help the energy transition right away. We'll still wait to work on the solar, wind, and storage, hydrogen, but the immediate solution would be link the load, have a flexibility between, and have two-way communication. So if the grid needs a help and then load, and all of us users can help to get where we are in terms of a capacity, in terms how do we to survive another extreme weather condition or storms. And that's the key piece of technology we need to get into. But we know we can do it. It's just we don't have enough money to do it in the right time frame. But we have to start from somewhere. So that's the key piece of information. The other, like I said, the industry itself is heavily regulated. It's not like the iPhones or computers, right? And we have the energy commission. There's a history beyond that. Otherwise, only certain people can afford electricity, not everyone. By heavily regulated, have a flat rate for everyone, so we all can enjoy the electricity. So but the transition will be difficult because we spend 140 years of resources and money to build what we have today. And it's going to take tremendous money and resources and talents to get us to do the energy transition.
All right, good. It's interesting. So money is the word.
That's the thing. And it's the most capital-intensive industry that you can imagine, and no one can do it. It takes the government, we talk about that, university, and the marketing, the industry, all work together. Then we can move it faster. And particularly, we need to get the consumers and the ratepayers come into play and help us. That's exactly what California did.
All right. Okay. So I think we have touched on the talents. Like Engineer mentioned, versatility. Versatile. You must be versatile. So maybe we can go a bit. I don't want to be biased, but since this is Women in Power Forum, so I need to ask about this female engineers, the role of female engineers in power industry. If you can share with me how many the statistic of TNB engineers, female, male, the ratio.
I'm so sorry, I don't have the figures, but in general, I would say 2080.
20 female.
Yeah.
Okay.
In terms of population.
All right. Okay.
And being in Tenaga, we are 20% exec and 80% field workers.
Okay.
So going into that kind of equation, maybe we have around 3,000 of
Okay.
around
3,000 of like from 30,000 staff. TNB how many? 20 something.
30,000.
30,000. Right. Okay. So maybe do you notice any difference in terms of female and male engineers work? Significant differences.
Yeah, maybe this is not backed up by any studies, but pretty much observation, I would say. I work alongside many successful women engineers. I think at the entry level, I have to say this: the female engineers, the women, outnumbered the male candidate lah, in terms of their academic achievements. So if we put the bar, for example, 3.0 CGPA, we will be most likely get majority female engineer who are going to pass that filter. But we are very much well aware that some roles require men's presence. For example, if you were to look for guys who are maintaining the overhead lines, managing our renties deep down there in the jungle and stuff like that. It's not to say that women cannot do that, but they could be the only single woman around the team of 20 men. And I have seen the inclination of a female engineers, usually during the first year, or maybe the first assignment, first role in the company, you can't choose much. So those who are going to the maintenance field have to work alongside and prove themselves along besides the men. But over time, as they progress in the career and they have different priorities, maybe they have started to think about settling down and build a family and things like that. So most of these female engineers are started to apply some other roles which is central in HQ, doing the desk job, for example, analytical, policy makers, strategy, and so on and so forth. And they leave those hardcore men field workers back at the jungle. So this is kind of like a normal, I would say it's a very natural trend I've been observing, not just in maintenance, it goes as well in our asset development, the project team. We have very few iron ladies managing the project and managing the contractors. But if you check in our HQ in Bangsa, you meet a lot of female engineers, and I would say that biases are there. We try to manage the biases in terms of recruiting, having more diversity agenda in-house, but the stereotypes remain. Sometimes when they are off for maternity, for example, it's seen as a problem to certain chauvinistic bosses, for example. And this kind of like plant some image on whether the women engineers are capable or incapable in doing things. I have to admit that in certain industries, women did pretty well. Education, I would say hospitality is a general term, not just in engineering, but if you look at the other male-dominated industries, for example, construction, oil and gas, you can see that natural progression or natural inclination towards having more men than women there. However it is, I have to stress the point that merit comes first. Whenever we choose a candidate, merit is always the first. We have the bare minimum, like all our international standards. Pass the international standards, then you can come and build and participate and so on and so forth. But it is the natural mindset change throughout the years of working, being observed in female engineers in general. I hate to stereotype again, understanding the biases, but that is what I observe.
But I believe male and female engineers receive the same benefits and compensation.
I would say 90% yes, but there are still some legacy issues. For example, spouse is defined differently between men and women. I'm not going there for a moment.
Yeah.
But it's still
Controversy.
a controversy and it causes a lot of debates. We try to be more in terms of want to be seen equal, and I have to state that all these legacy things that being brought while transitioning from a government entity into a private entity in Tenaga Nasional Berhad.
Okay, I think like just I mentioned during lunchtime just now, maybe we don't want equality, but we want fairness.
Yes, yeah, I would say that's the first step towards achieving that equity, justice, fairness. Then you can see the equity. Being fair is about putting the right place at the putting the right thing at the right place. So that is quite a challenge for the time being. Knowing very well TNB is an engineering company and male dominated.
Okay, so Jessica, maybe I would like to ask from you. We have been in the industry for more than 30 years. So have you benefit anything from male advocates in terms of progressing your career?
Sure, all the time, right there. The comments, like I said earlier, the way I understood it is we have a long history, right? Just think about the human history. We were at the museum.
Yeah.
3 million years of history, and just think about how your grandma, my grandma, how they grew up and the difference. It's a journey. You mentioned about 90%, right? So yeah, there's a differences and equity, and we'll get there. Like I said, it's all science-based. The World Economic Forum, they actually publish a report every year on the gender differences. And this latest report says we still have 200 years to go.
Wow.
And that's over average worldwide, and equal pay and equal rights. Just think about it, in the US, only until 1920, about 100 years ago, women were able to vote. Just think about that, right? In the US. The African American women, they were able to vote in 1960s. And even for all the ladies, there's different rights. Like I said, 1920. So think about how we came along the thousands of years human history. And women, our role was to raise family and not do the hard labor work. Just think about in the past, right? All the constructions and building 100 years ago, they're built by man. It's not that there's a implicit bias. It's just required by the market labor force because they're built different, right? Physically, they're built differently than the ladies. So our tasks are different. It's all for efficiency. It's a world efficiency, competition, survival. That's what humans do. And also survival is a very creative act. It's all about efficiency, how to save energy, and how to do it every day efficiently. That's how we build. So now we have a technology, right? And we have most of our works in office. So that technology actually level the playing field. Now we can sit together, talk about the things, right? Not that we're competing the heavy weighting and the construction work that we have. So with that perspective, I always appreciate and thank all the gentlemen for your support and bring the technology along so that we can do all the things equally. But there's still a long way to go. For each country, and the report also says, like USA, we would at least have 70 years to go to get equal. For some other country, it will take longer. Like you said, overall, just look at entire world globally, it will take 200 years to have everything equal. At least that's according to the report.
Yeah. Okay, I wonder about Malaysia, how many more years that we have to go
Yeah,
before that?
I can. Yeah, we have to check those numbers. Yes.
Okay. All right. Then maybe I'll pass this question to Dr. Nofri as a director for Solar Research Institute UITM. Do you think there's any issue of women and leadership in the context of your own career?
Thank you. Yeah, I don't think so. I think yeah, the equity and the fair is there. I mean, a fair opportunity for all the women. They can become the leader, and I think myself also we are treated well. Even we are, as a director of Solar Research Institute. I work a lot with UITM Holdings, our investment arm of the university, and a majority of them is men. And I don't think that they respect. I mean, we work along together, so there is no, there is no. I would say the discrimination. Yeah, there is no discrimination when we work together. Yeah, and in fact, in the Solar Research Institute, we are still new, and out of 5 fellow, 4 of them are women. Because the director,
female dominated.
Yeah, because the director is a woman, is a female. Yeah, and I think we don't limit ourselves. Yeah, we travel a lot. We take care of the solar plant, and yeah, I think we will support all the women, to be a part of the this engineering world. In SRI also, we develop or we conduct training for women. For example, in last year, I think we conducted a training called E-Wire, empowering women in renewable energy, where we train the young women, how to design the basic solar photovoltaic system. And also we do seminar, to encourage these young women, because still, according to statistic, women in renewable energy is still, very low number. So that's one of the our what was it, the program that we want to encourage women to be involved in this field.
Okay, maybe there's no issue. I mean, women in leadership, but there's always a stereotyping, a perception on how women and men lead. Maybe Engineer Ziha, you can give some thoughts about it since you are the head of technical sales and marketing. Do you have any more male staff, and how did they see you in terms of making decision and things like that?
Yep. In my small company, Chispark, in the management, I'm the only lady. The rest, the MD and the rest are men. And because also TNB, we are part of TNB, so 80-20 rules in this case. So, but yes, I think this is where, yes, I think I agree with Jessica. We are not born the same. We have our own strength, and this is where we capitalize on our own strength. Yes, like I said, I have my strength, they have their strength. For example, what I think I did well compared to my counterparts is actually, yeah, patience is one thing, but in it, I'm the way I handle customer. I have more patience. I have more Example, and I actually involved a lot in negotiating the agreement. I've brought Zainal here, so he knows I've been negotiating with him. So I think in that sense, that's my advantage because I believe I did well in that. So I think in terms of human part, women are better at that. That's why you see more women in hospitality, you know, in education, because we have advantage in that sense. So it's actually that's why in any companies or anything you need to have a balance. You can't have all male in a company. You need to have that diversity because this is where we balance out and we actually support each other in the strength that we can contribute to the company. Yeah. So yes, you need to have that balance so that it's much more balanced.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I also read some report that companies will have a diversity and also have some. Quite a number of female leaders. They make more money actually compared to
Even Jack Ma said that.
Yes. Okay. I believe that we almost we have another half an hour and I have asked maximum 3 questions to all the panel. So now I open up to the audience. This is an opportunity for you to ask any of the panelists. We can go in the scope of future talent of engineers, or maybe you would like to ask different question out of the topic is also allowable. So I can open up this to audience to ask question. Anybody would like to be the first person to ask? I should plan the question actually. Yep, anyone would like to ask question? Okay, Pro Hazli, come, ask one question. On behalf of your student, your female students.
Dr. Su, can I?
Yes.
I would like to add from your first question regarding the curriculum. I think there is a movement on this curriculum in university where I think in Malaysia, in fact, some of the university they embed professional course into their curriculum. I think that's a good strategy. For example, in some of the local university, so they collaborate with Green Tech Malaysia or Energy Commission, to have like certification, this professional certification into their course. So when this student, when they graduated, they have this certificate, and this certificate, put like a condition. If after 1 year, they've been working in the industry, then they are able to work as energy manager, for example. So I think
that means a value added
yes,
to
value
the
added to the
degree.
student. Yeah, I think that will increase their the employability and relevant into their market. To the job.
Then we have to ask Cik Sharul whether do you give advantage to those who have this professional certification besides their degree.
Yes, if it is
Related.
required. For example,
Yeah.
legislatively,
Yes.
it is required. For example, some role require energy manager certification, for example. Then obviously it will be part of the criteria in selecting the right talent.
Okay. Yes, Pro Hazli, are you ready? Okay, yes.
Okay,
Can you please introduce yourself and then
my name is Farah Wahida from UPM. I'm student volunteer. So my question is for Cik Sharul. Do you have any tips or encouragement how to for young professionals, especially women, because it's women in power, to contribute more in engineering? So do you have any tips on that?
Thank you very much. I didn't get your name.
Farah.
Farah, thank you very much, Farah, for the question. In the eyes of management, everybody are treated equally, but the stereotypes again, what female talent can do to probably uh, uh, what do you, to challenge the stereotype is what expected on a male engineer. For example, you must go you must go to the field, get your hands dirty. You must show tenacity. You must be curious and stuff like that. Then only you'll be considered equal because other engineers are doing it the same. But I can't deny the fact that by design, perhaps female has more advantage in terms of knowing how to put the right words, being persuasive, for example, and other things that could be leveraged to the advantage of female engineers. We have seen many females works pretty well in sales. I don't know, it could be a stereotype to the male customer. But then again, that is what the world is revolving around that. So I would say that I remember reading this one book called Be So Good No One Can Ignore You, that kind of thing. Carl Newport, I don't know whether it's an old book. And I subscribe to the idea. If I were to be the best engineer, I grab one subject matter and I'll be so damn good at it, people can't ignore me. And I think is to be neutral, it's not just apply to male engineer, it should apply to female engineer as well. And when you have that knowledge, you become a SME, subject matter expert in that field. I used to think that if the company wants to retrench people, I may be the last person they want because I have this knowledge. So having that spirit in mind, having that competitive minded, I wanted to excel in engineering and be the subject matter expert is something that I picked up. And I believe I've seen many fellow colleagues of female engineers do the same like what I did. I think it comes quite naturally, and they excel in their field. So I hope I answer your question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Farah. Any more questions?
Assalamualaikum. Thank you so much for the really interesting and informative forum. I would like to, in fact, I'm wondering, first of all, my name is Ashwaq. I'm from education background, and I am interested into the teaching engineering. But my question is a bit away from this. I'm wondering if, if someone wants to shift from academy to industry, what does it involve? Is it that Mr. Sharu said that it involves curiosity, it involves feeling, being able to take the challenge, but does it involve something else? So how people can prepare themselves to shift, to do the smooth transit or transfer from academy to industry. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the question. Allow me to take up the question. I notice this is also something quite general. I tend to divide the lifeline of an engineer in the corporate, in the workplace, into two very pertinent segments. First, during the junior days, when during the junior engineer, in being a junior engineer, what you need to do, what you need to have is that the thing that I mentioned earlier. Curiosity, you are creative, you wanted to be the best in the field, and things like that. The difference set when you are joining the managerial or you becoming a bit more senior, there at this point onwards, there are lesser emphasis on technical knowledge as an engineer, but they are looking at you as manager, as a leader and stuff. But I have seen some very very good and great senior engineers or managers in technical field, and one distinct features of these people are they are resourceful. Because at the senior level, you may not know how to do the detailed calculation and whatnot, but you know there are 5 things you need to check before you are finally putting down your signature and approve the drawing or the plans and so on. I would like to envelope these 2 things into any career transition. If you are joining at a young age, they are still the same thing that you need to be. You need to be curious, you need to be energetic, you need to be creative, go-getter, and so on and so forth. But if you are joining at the senior level or maybe the managerial level, you need to be wise and more so resourceful. And I don't have a straight formula to tell on how to be resourceful. Taking the case of you in particular, being an academician going into the industry, I think you have the advantage of being an academician. You have that knowledge resource. But knowing very well, being a leader, there are other facets or success profile, I would say, other than knowledge. You must have experience, you must have leadership competency, as well as personality. So you may have ticked 1 box out of the other 4, the other 3, for example. So go again, being inquisitive, learning, adaptive, because transitioning from one industry to another is just all about adapting yourself. I don't know whether there any other.
Any other thing you would like to add? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to add. There's a famous book called Design Your Life by one of the two actually Stanford universities. So you can take a look at it and read it. It's very interesting. So in the book says, how do you design your life? 3 steps, simple. One is like we heard curiosity, right? Like you're saying, okay, what's the life or a routine would look like on the industry side? You're from education. So that's curiosity, you already have that. And the second step is talk. You come to the forum like this, talk to the folks experience the work from industry. And third step is prototype. That is that you think about it, the 15 things that you would like to do, go to industry, right? Get to work on the startup company, for instance, and or continue to be the industry manager or leader, the MD. All those things you listed up, or the industry, it's a wide arena as well. So do you want to work at the IT industry or power and energy industry? There are tons of other industries as well. You write that down, you think about it, and talk to the people in those fields. And then eventually you nail down 3. It says, okay, yeah, I know the pros and cons, right? I know what it looks like once I get to the industry. You have a coffee or dinner, lunch together with those folks. And once you nail down to 3, you say, well, I like all these 3, the top 3. And then we just call it prototype. You jump into the 3 and apply for company, TMB, renewable lab, and all that, and just feel for 2 years. Do you like that? From the bottom of your heart, maybe that's your strengths and talents. You feel so easy. You can have the technical knowledge and SME, your subject matter experts already. Then you feel that, hey, this is my natural home. If you don't like that, then jump to your second one and try 2 years, and then next one. Then along the way, it's a journey. Along the way, you discover yourself, your strength, and this is where you feel comfortable. So I kind of like that approach. And when I reflect on myself, this is how I kind of did it. So try every 2 years. I tried 5 years, and I said, well, maybe I want to, right? I started, I was a teacher. I graduated with my PhD and taught 2 years. I said, well, I want to have immediate impact. If you go to industry, right, I design something, I finish a project at a utility company or as a system operator, as an operations engineer, all right, I manage the outage. I can see my impact immediately. But the research, it's the education, it's a long term, right? You're educating students, you want them to thrive. So it's a different reward. And then you say, okay, maybe this is not something for me. Then you go to another one. Then your curiosity says, okay, I want to do something else and move on. That's the journey that we have, which is perfectly fine. You don't have to stay in one place. Especially we have the social challenges. We all, the way we do our research is we kind of have a narrow sector, right? Like pizza, here's the power and energy, here's IT, here's a computer, here's other things. Actually, just think about the nature is all connected, integrate together. So the more you know, and the impact that you have will be much more on the society and to the public.
Okay, Jessica also talk about,
If I may add, in Tenaga, one of the things that we are looking at in HR is to provide a good employee experience. And we note that we do have a specialist career path where we wanted to groom and develop our own internal specialists. And one of the things that we are toying around at the moment is to introduce sabbatical leave for our employee, so that they can go into the other different industry, maybe non-competing at all, and look at how marketing is done at FMCG and in banking, for example. And then they come back after that sabbatical period and try to deploy that idea back in the company. This is something that we have adopted from the academic industries, from the education industry, whereby I think the idea of having sabbatical leave is a golden opportunity for you to explore whether you have that combination of those three factors mentioned by Dr. Jessica. Thank you.
yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay, I would like to share my experience being as an academician, and I also work as a consultant in several projects with industry, for example, Petronas, JKR, TMB. So there is a significant difference, between the life as an academic and when you do consulting, work as a consultant in industry. Yeah, people always see academician is complex, being so much of analytic. So you have to be flexible in such case, to understand what the industry needs. So when you work as a consultant, dollar and cent is always, the profit is always, the agenda, and the way you do the writing report, the technical report is not, so much complicated like you submitting the Q1 journal. So you should know the difference between these two. So be flexible, I think, is one of the tips when you want, to change, not to change, but to adapt into these two career, academician and industry. Same goes to when you want to, you want to apply for a project or proposal with industry. Yeah, so that they don't want to see proposals that are too lengthy, but it's straightforward, and what are the benefits to this company. So but when you apply for, scholarship grant, from ministry, from mostly, or from education, and so you need to understand the nature of how these two worlds, operating. Yeah, I think That's my.
Thank you. I think I believe that when we involve with the different stakeholders, then we have to behave differently, right? According to the situation. I think I'll stop the question from the audience, right?
Am I allowed to ask one
Oh,
question?
okay. Final question. Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be final question, but since our this session is not only physical here, it's being live at our YouTube and Facebook channel as well. So I believe many young professionals, they are right now watching us, and they will be later on watching the recording as well. So I want to ask on behalf of all of them, the young professionals, when they are graduating from the institution. So we have people from academia, from sales background, from head of talent, and from industry, the highly experienced people. uh, if moderator allow me, my question is like, you all can name like one skill that you are looking in your field when a fresh graduate is coming and joining under you, maybe as a student or as your team member. What exactly you are looking at the priority? Like we are talking about here soft skills and all that. So what are the things that you guys are actually looking in them so that they get ready and prepared timely when they are coming to join your company or any other company? Thank you. I'm sorry, this is an unplanned question.
Okay, I think I take myself as an example. I think what's important for a young engineer is to be flexible and don't be rigid. So that actually is very broad in terms of your skills, in terms of your attitude. I think I would always stress on attitude, because you can tell the difference between someone who is going to succeed in their life and someone who is not, because it's in their attitude. If they are willing to learn, they're passionate in doing what they are doing, and they're flexible, you know that they can excel in whatever they do. Because like I said, once you start as engineer, you don't necessarily become engineer forever. So being flexible, passionate about what they do, that would actually they would take off easy. They could succeed in whatever they do. So flexible is the thing that I'm looking at for in young engineers.
Any other people like check? Yeah.
Yeah, we just hiring a few candidates. Our Solar Research Institute, we just secured a project from Petronas, a big one, 2.5 million. So we are hiring 10 fresh graduate to to work with us. And of course, we interviewed like 20 fresh graduate students recently. And the first thing that the criteria that the first that we are looking is patient. They must be passionate, and they're willing to work. Of course, under pressure. Flexible is also the key word. Other than, of course, their background must be related to the project. Yeah, thank you.
I would like to offer a slightly different perspective, embracing diversity and inclusion, and looking at what currently around us, for example, gig economy and stuff like that, startups and whatnot. And all these are initiated by young people. And probably those young professionals are looking or watching from YouTube could have these features. What I'm trying to say is, for a young people, they are blessed with the license to fail. The senior won't scold you for failing if you are a junior engineer, for example. But please don't fail. Always don't fail every time. So there's a term called fail fast and fail cheap, probably, and that is what being embraced by startups. And in this age where reverse mentoring is embraced in the company, whereby the chiefs are starting to learn about the tax, the technology things, and all the internet stuff from the young employees. I think these are some dimension whereby young professionals should look at in contributing to when you join the workforce. maybe you have some value proposition that you can give, but don't shy away. Come, show the true color. You are a human being after all. You are allowed to fail, and don't be shy to ask question. I think I would be very happy to have that kind of intern anytime in my office, rather than the one who are going just keep quiet and things like that. And nowadays, with the help of technology, I would highly encourage the young people to start journaling, documenting what they have learned. Sometimes documenting what you have failed tells you what not to do in the next course of time, next turn of things. So that pretty much what I would like to offer. Slightly different what other skills, but I think in living in this reality, I think this is something that they can offer to the employer.
Sure, great. I want to say is go back to what I said earlier. Put yourself into others' shoes. Just think about if you are CEO of that company, TMB, what would you say? So if you think that you understand why they are telling you what they want, right? They always say save money, make profit. That's the culture. That thousands of years human history behind it, right? We all try to survive or have a control and power. Do you understand why CEO said, or the manager, or the project, and all that? So with that understanding, then you don't have to say, I don't have anxious. I know why they said what they said, why they want the project on time and their budget, right? Why they want flexibility and others. All those things, there's a reason for that. So with that understanding, so then we can be flexible because they're not just towards me personally. Everything, there's a reason. So I am not making, I won't be frustrated if my manager said, well, you're not doing a good job, you're not meeting the expectations, because I know why he or she said, what's the reason. With that understanding, I can pivot myself, I can appreciate what they do, then I'll be happy. Just be happy going to work or going to study. And how to be happy? You put yourself into others' shoes so you know where they came from. Then it's not personal. That's what the expectation. You probably cannot meet them. Then you move on to other places. So put yourself into others' shoes. You'll be happy every day.
All right, I think Dr. Harun's question pretty sum up the gist of this forum. So I won't ask the panel to summarize anymore, but maybe to conclude, I believe that as a junior engineer, we should equip ourselves with technical knowledge, okay, competency, and as Sharon mentioned, that be so good that people cannot ignore you, all right. And then also we talk about attitude, flexibility, versatile, all right. And once you are in a managerial post as a leader, if I can quote Jessica, lead with head and also with heart, understanding your team members. And then I think that would be the key recipes. As a woman, we talk about recipe. The key recipes for the organization. So with that, I think we can conclude the session. I would like to thank again all the all the panelists. Thank you very much for sharing your views and thoughts. And I hope that this session has given some benefits to those who are watching us, all right, or who hear from the young engineers and also women in power. So thank you again. So I'll pass back to Dr. Harun.
Thank you very much, Professor Hannah. A big applause to all the panelists and the moderator. Thank you very much to the moderator, Professor Dr. Suhaina, the panelists, Dr. Jessica, Sharul Nizam, T.S. Nursia, and Associate Professor Aya Dr. Nofri. So thanks for giving us this chance that the young professionals can learn from the experienced people coming from different background. I have done a lot of things, to be very honest, and I got some new information and ideas and tips and tricks to tell my students as well. So I'm quite blessed for that. Before we conclude the forum, I would like to invite Professor Aya Suhaina Zakaria to present a token of appreciation to all the panelists. Okay, I would like to call upon first Dr. Jessica. Second, I would like to call upon Sharul Nizam. The one and only man sitting in the panel, but young professional. Then I would like to call upon T.S. Nurziha. Last but not the least, I would like to call upon Associate Professor Aya Dr. Nofri. Thank you once again to all the panelists for the informative session for the whole panel. Please remain seated. We will have a group photo session after this, so I don't want you to come down and then go back again there for photograph. Let me just give a few announcements before we conclude this forum, and then we take a pleasure to have a photograph session with the panelists. So there are a few announcements for today. There will be gala dinner at 7:45. So it's slightly different than what is written in the program book. So please follow 7:45 at the same place. And if you have not collected the voucher, you can just visit registration counter. And after this, we will have a tea break, tea and coffee break, networking session. Please feel free. And then we will proceed with the parallel session. So with that, I would like to conclude this WIP and YP forum with our honorable and distinguished panelists. Thank you very much once again, and we meet you in the next round. Thank you. So can I call upon the committee of PowerCon?
Thanks.